Hello, Watem here, and welcome back to some Higurashi When They Cry. Just before continue, last time after I finished off the tip again, and yes, so this other one, tells Rika which night it is, so it might be through her that she gets her power. Rika gets the power to know the future. Anyway, I'll just go back to the decision.
6が立て続けに出てくれることもあるわよ。何事もないことを祈りたいのです。
Yeah, I guess. To Rika-chan, who had whispered that I...
ちょっと俺、ミオンのところに行ってくる。
After taking my leave from them, I left the classroom and headed to the faculty office where Mion had gone to make the phone call. It's not like I could do anything, even if I stayed by her. I just hated staying still or doing nothing but wallow in anxiety.
Mm. 本当は嫌なんだけどな。どうしようね。
先日の会合で竜宮レナを確保して警察に引き渡すことで決着しています。ですので、ひっ捕らえても一応筋は通ります。
うちの対面じゃなくて、レナの心情的に気の毒だなってこと。できたら本当に静かに決着したいんだけどね。
It does seem like this will be a difference. Be a difference? That's what I was going to say, mixed with this will be different. Yeah. Oops.
まあ、お若いですから。人さえ殺さなければ、大抵はごめんなさいで済みますよ。
じゃあ、アウトかもだ。
いえいえ、見つからなければセーフですから。セーフ。沖宮の界隈ではあの二人の失踪を気にする者はいません。何かのヤバい話を踏んで夜逃げしたんだろうということになっています。あの程度のゴロつき、次から次へです。ですからセーフ。
アウトだのセーフだの、あたしら野球拳でもやってるわけ？まあいいや。それじゃあくれぐれもよろしくお願いします。
了解しました。ではひっ捕らえてよろしいんですね。
ちゃんとタッチアウトにするんだよ。クロスプレーなんかにしないようによろしく頼みます。
I couldn't help but have a silly chat with Kasai-san. When I put the phone down, I sensed Chia-sensei was looking at me. No wonder, as she'd been able to hear the conversation clearly in this tiny room. Chia-sensei put her spoon down, and with a sad look on her face, she asked the following.
今の電話は竜宮さんをめぐる話ですか？まあ、はい。園崎さん、竜宮さんはどうして家出をしちゃったんでしょう。お友達として何か知ってはいませんか？
It was hard for anyone to understand Rena's situation, except for me and Kei-chan. So most of them thought that Rena just ran away from home. But after she did, the cops made too much of a fuss over it. Oishi stupidly believed the scrapbooks were a big scoop, and he overreacted in trying to find Rena. He had patrol cars running around everywhere in the village. He even used the town council's phone directory to find her. So people in the village thought Rena did something wrong and was trying to run from the cops. What was going to be difficult for me, more than finding her, was to make up a story to retrieve Rena's honor after they detained her. What about this? Rena went for a walk, fell down and hit her head on the edge of some tofu and lost her memory. Oishi misunderstood something big time, and he thought she was a criminal. It was too easy. Anyway, we did make it clear that Oishi was the one who misunderstood everything at the meeting the other day. Had to make the best use of his name while he was feeling down for once. What I'd have to do was not make a big deal about the situation, and to create an environment that allowed Rena to forget everything that happened. in order to get her life back together as soon as possible.
大丈夫ですよ先生。レナは今ちょっと病気になってるだけです。それを警察の某ベテラン刑事が素敵に勘違いして話をややこしくしただけです。まさか先生、レナが悪いことをして逃走中なんて信じちゃいないですよね。それはもちろんですけど、でも家出することによってご家族におかけしている迷惑を考えれば悪くないということはありません。
She had a fight with her father, and she ran away from home for a little while. She acted childish, and that's all. Maybe that'd be the best story to go with.
何か悩みがあったのでしょうか。それに気づけなかった私は教師失格ですね。一度竜宮さんとじっくりお話がしたかったです。
So this is the same, but I'm guessing the part after Chie Sensei gets the phone call is going to be different.
先生、ちょっとヘビーに考えすぎです。もうちょっとリラックスリラックス。プチ家出なんて今時珍しくないですって。はあ、竜宮さんがこのまま不良になってしまって悪いことを始めたらどうしましょう。
Ryugu-san becomes a bad kid. Then she does something bad and gets arrested by the police. Then it's her teacher's responsibility. Then I'll be dishonorably discharged. Then I can't eat curry anymore. And then I'm dead. Chie-sensei seemed comically upset by her own imagination. It looked funny, so I decided to leave her alone. I made to leave the teacher's office to go back to the classroom, but right then, the phone rang.
はい、もしもし。ひなみ沢文庫でございます。
Chie-sensei had to answer the phone all day today because the principal was on a business trip. I exited to the hallway. Then I heard the tone of her voice change.
今、どこにいるんですか?
What? I yelled and looked back at her. It was probably Rena. She called the school. I tried to go back inside the teacher's office, but Chie-sensei gestured at me not to come in. Chie-sensei acknowledged what Rena was saying several times, and then she looked up at the clock.
わかりました。今からすぐ行きます。先生との約束ですよ。
She said only that, put the phone down, and got her purse out of her locker.
院長、先生は休養ができました。しばらく表へ出ますので、みんなを自習させてください。
She took her car key out from her purse. It was obvious that she was going to see Rena somewhere.
先生、今の電話はレナ？以上です。よろしく頼みますよ、院長。
Chie-sensei completely ignored me and she ran out into the hallway. She ran to the schoolyard and got into her car.
ケイちゃん！
どうした？シエ先生慌ててどこに行ったんだ？
レナから電話があった。
I don't think I remember this, but there was a lot that happened, so I'm not sure.
なんて？
I ran after the teacher without answering that. Kei-chan followed behind me. Yeah, I don't think this happened. I think she went by herself. She ran to the schoolyard and got into her car. The moment her car left through the gate, I ran out to the schoolyard myself. I headed for the black car parked near the gate and knocked on the window.
お疲れ様です。今のところ異常ありません。
違う。今出て行った先生の車を追って。多分行く先にレナがいる。
何？
Keiichi yelled in surprise, but there wasn't any time left to explain to him now.
レナは警戒心が強いから注意してね。捕まえたら有無を言わさずに本家放り込んで葛西の指示に従うこと。私の友人だよ。怪我なんかさせたら許さないからね。
Rena must have told Chie-sensei that she wanted to talk to her alone. I could tell that easily from the way she ignored my question. I did feel a little bad for ruining their promise. But it was very important that we caught her before she did something wrong. We could still make up an excuse that she was just wandering around because she had a fight with her father and ran away from home. But if she set fire to the clinic or something, there would be nothing I could do. Come on, speak up.
ミオ、俺も行く。
ケイちゃん。
先生がレナのいる場所に向かったんなら、俺も一緒の方がいいはずだ。頼む。
Oh. Oh. And there will be no one left at the school. Oh, this is gonna be a bad end.
そうだね、確かに。
Oof.
じゃあケイちゃん、早く乗って。
わかった。
Kei-chan opened the car door and swiftly climbed into the passenger seat. While we were dilly-dallying, the teacher's car was beginning to disappear from our line of sight. We could only pray we didn't lose sight of her.
よろしく頼んだよ、ケイちゃん。
ああ、任せとけ。
The car made a rough U-turn on the gravel road that chased after Chie-sensei's car at full speed. As we tailed the shadow of the disappearing car, we could only pray for this series of misfortunes to end on a quiet note. It won't. Chie-sensei's car soon came into view. It was travelling at a very fast pace. But thankfully, she was the sort of person who didn't drive above the speed limit. We passed the stone steps of the Furude shrine and left the paved road partway into a coarse mountain trail. Where we were headed wasn't even the damn construction site where the mountains of trash lay. We were headed to an unknown location, which I wasn't aware of, as I was still unfamiliar with the area.
この道ってどこに続いてます？
山の方っすね。このまま行くと谷をまたいだ隣の町へのルートになるっす。
As if it nodded in agreement with the driver's words, the vegetation around us opened up on one side, and we saw mountains in the distance and a valley between them. I saw a stream up ahead and a suspension bridge straddling it. According to him, there was certainly an unmanned office cabin in the vicinity set up for emergency purposes. Judging by Chie-sensei's panic, had Rena threatened to jump off from there or something if she didn't come? If so, then why exactly? That's right. Just why had she called Chie-sensei out to the suspension bridge? The sudden question triggered a throbbing anxiety which spread across my chest. First of all, what did Rena even have to do with Chie-sensei? Here I was going into it thinking, oh yeah, so Keiichi's going to come up and he's going to realise that obviously there's something wrong, and he's going to realise this question first, and he's going to they're not going to chase after Chie-sensei, and they're going to have the two bodyguards to help at the school. But no, they just make it even worse. I mean, it's not like they were on bad terms. Rena was a good student, so she had a good relationship with her teacher. But it's not like she had a trusting relationship with her, enough to call her and consult her on such affairs. And also, why the suspension bridge? If it was a threat to jump off if she didn't come. The shrine had a good enough elevation for that. She didn't have to call her all the way out here.
しまった。
I was astonished, finally having understood Rena's intentions.
運転手さん、千恵先生の車を止めてくれ。
え？
早く。
As we noisily rang the car horn, Chie-sensei's car came to a halt, almost close enough to hit us, and she got down looking stunned. And after recognizing me in the passenger seat of the car behind hers, she tried to yell out, but I beat her to it and cried, "We're in big trouble."
先生、俺たちレナに騙されたんだ。レナはここにはいない。
The teacher didn't understand what I was talking about and donned a confused expression. But there wasn't even any time to explain it to her, so I flew towards the phone booth near us, put a 10-yen coin in the slot and dialed the phone number to the staff room which I vaguely recalled. Please, somebody answer. Mion, Sadako, Rika-chan. I don't care if it's somebody else there. I had to tell this to the people at school fast. So hurry. Hurry up and pick up the phone. It's going to be Rena that picks up. And then, after the phone had rang around 10 times and I'd almost given up, the call went through.
もしもし。すみません。俺、前原です。すぐに、園崎美音に繋いでください。
These question marks.
もしもし
To be specific, the same yellow question marks that are used for mysterious person with Rika. Although maybe that's just the same yellow question marks used for all the question marks.
聞こえてるのかもしもし
I didn't know if it was because I was using an old phone or because the line was too far away, but I couldn't hear anything from the receiver. Then, when I was about to raise my voice and yell into the phone,
何ケイイチくん
it is Rena. Okay, never mind.
みーちゃんに何か用かなかな
My prediction was on the mark. It was even worse than I had imagined.
レナ、そこにいるんだな。
うんいるよみーちゃんたちも一緒にねケイイチくんがいないのが残念だよ一人じゃなかなかやりづらくってうるさく騒いだり泣いたりして頭にきたから何度か殴っちゃった
Oh dear.
なんてことおいレナいいかここには千恵先生もいるだから落ち着いて俺の話をは
あケイイチくんはそっちに行っちゃったのかだったらお話はこっちで聞くね早く来てね待ってるから
おいレナ待て切るな
Those words fell on dead ears. Rena, who was on the other side, swiftly ended the conversation like it was nothing. So do we get an epilogue or just...
沖宮 TS より全社へ沖宮 TS より全社へひなみ沢営林署にて籠城事件発生人質多数全社は至急ひなみ沢営林署へ向かわれたし
クマちゃん遅れて申し訳ない状況は
ご苦労様っす本日午後1時頃ひなみ沢営林署内のひなみ沢分校区画にて教室占拠が発生しました
It was taken over at 1 p.m. and it's taken them until like sunset to get there.
犯人側の第一要求は営林署敷地内への一切の立ち入りの禁止と当保へのホットラインの確保です
Especially after like I could understand in the previous one, like maybe no one would notice that it had been taken over. But in this time, Chi-sensei and Keiichi knew about it almost immediately.
ってことは初めっから警察と交渉する気ってことですかどういうつもりだ
あと犯人は交渉人に大石さんを指名してます犯人は竜宮玲奈
竜宮さんがわかりましたいいですよことことんお付き合いさせてもらいましょう
This time, Rena won't trust Keiichi. Even if he was to appear and arrive. Well, she gave a crooked smile.
竜宮玲奈以外に犯人がいるか不明ですカーテンが閉められているので状況も一切確認できていません
通報者に選挙時の様子は聞いてませんか
いえ竜宮玲奈からの直接の犯行声明でした よって内部の状況は一切不明。担任と生徒の1名は犯行直前に竜宮玲奈の電話呼び出しを受け、遠方に呼び出された間の犯行でした。
計画的ですね。営林署側の人間は人質には？
今日は営林署職員は不在でした。よって生徒24名のみ。生徒数は担任が出席簿で確認した人数です。
それプラス犯人ってわけか。竜宮玲奈以外に犯人らしき人影は？
いえ、何度かカーテンから覗く人影がありましたが、いずれも竜宮玲奈本人でした。ですが規模他を考えて、おそらく最低でももう一人二人はいると予想されます。
レナちゃんはとても真面目ないい子なんです。こんなことをするなんて何かの間違いに決まっています。
大丈夫ですか？
She ran up to Chie-sensei, who was crying with a handkerchief held up to her face. Chie-sensei was huddled over, and Oishi didn't think he could say anything else to her.
大石殿、よろしくお頼みしますぞ。もしできるなら、人質の交換を申し出たい。ぜひ私と子供たちを交換していただきたい。
校長先生、それは私がやります。私が悪いんです。
先生方、どうかご自分を責められないでください。先生方には校内の状況についていろいろとお聞きしたいことがありますので、ご協力をお願いいたします。ボンジ君。
What about Keiichi? Where's he in all of this?
図面の方で話を聞いてあげてください。
失礼します。1号車の無線に高杉課長です。
はいはい、もしもし。大石です。
大石さん、ご苦労さん。状況の大体は熊谷君に聞いたよ。犯人は未成年だそうだね。マスコミ規制の方を厳重に頼むよ。
分かってます。あと、犯人側が私を交渉人に指定してきてるようですが、問題ありませんかね？
とりあえず犯人の要求なら致し方がない。頼んだよ。
おいさん、車載電話に犯人です。
早速ご指名の電話が来ました。早速出ることにします。ありがとう。はい、もしもし、大石です。
I clenched my teeth in frustration and rolled my fists into a bowl. An overwhelming wall of police officers blocked my way, and I felt pathetic for only being able to watch the teachers and the detectives from afar. The reason behind why Chie-sensei had been phoned and summoned out of the school. For Rena, who wanted to hijack the classroom, the biggest obstacle was Chie-sensei. She was someone who had a strong sense of justice. Even if Rena had held a pistol to her, Chie-sensei probably wouldn't have hesitated. For the welfare of her students, she would put herself in danger. Getting rid of someone like her was the primary step in order to hijack the classroom. Attacking her from behind would have been the very first line of thought, but I'm sure she decided on an adult. Let me just start that again. But I'm sure she decided taking on an adult directly was a risky affair. In that case, it was better to lure her away to some place. Rena had then phoned Chie-sensei, and then told her she wished to seek her advice someplace private, and asked her to meet her near that suspension bridge. Including Chie-sensei, a good majority of the people thought that Rena had merely run away from home. So Chie-sensei probably thought Rena merely had some troubles she wished to discuss. Fooling her was that easy. So, where did Rena make the call from? Yes, it was from within the school. Well, not exactly. It was most likely from the first floor of the school building, from the office room of the forestry service. I thought it was last time they said the second floor. The forestry service at our school was more like a branch office, so it wasn't like the staff were always present. Depending on the day, they might not even be there. Rena had known this, and had been hiding on the first floor all this time. And then, she made a call to the ground floor from up there. Oh, do they mean, like, ground first? And then there'd be, like, second is up there? It's confusing that not all countries use the same system, because some countries do call it 1, 2, 3, some call it 0 or ground 1, 2. Oh well. Probably wasn't a coincidence that the principal had also been away on his business trip today, although I remember last time that they said he was on the first floor roof and then the second floor roof. Should be... So yeah, there's some things that aren't quite adding up there, but probably not actual important details. Probably also a coincidence that the principal had also been away on a business trip today. Rena had most likely snuck into the school yesterday itself. And then she had discerned the principal's itinerary and the workings of the internal phone lines before she put her plan into action. How cunning it all was. No, I understood. Right now, even as she was possessed by a murderous rage, Rena was keeping her composure. She was unbelievably calm despite being plagued by her delusion that controlled her. And so, just thinking about it made my head spin. Because I had even personally experienced what she was going through before. Also, what was even more unlucky was the absence of the Sonozaki family bodyguard who had been standing by the gate. I thought there had been two, maybe there was only one though, my bad. It was because Mion had sent him to follow Chie-sensei, who had set out to meet Rena. Everything was so screwed up, on so many levels.
今ですね、県警の暴隊と公安部で一斉捜査作戦を準備中なんです。何しろ市内全域を一斉にやりますからね、調整に多少の時間が。
遅すぎる。大石さん、私たちは今獅子骨市が置かれている緊急的危機についてよく理解し合っているんじゃなかったでしたっけ。何をのんびりとしたことを。大石さん、本当に私の話を信じてくれているんですよね。私の味方なんですよね。味方ですよね。答えてください。
もちろんですとも。ですが、警察組織ってやつは簡単じゃないんです。私も最大限努力をしてるんですよ。本当です。ただですね、やはり話の規模があまりに大きすぎるもので。
Negotiations weren't that satisfactory, to be honest. Even as they spoke, it was clear that from the overwhelming tension that Rena's patience was wearing thinner and thinner.
じゃあ、圭一君を呼んで。
は？今何とおっしゃいました？
そっちにいるんでしょ、圭一君。彼と話をするから、早く呼び出して。
わかりました。
Where she asked one of his subordinates to summon the boy who stood in the front line of the crowd gathered at the barricade. He immediately jogged over to the car as soon as he was called.
前原圭一さんですね。
はい。
竜宮レナさんがあなたと話がしたいそうです。通話代わってもらえますか？
わかりました。
Oishi then handed over the receiver to Keiichi, and he noticed something happening outside and left the car.
もしもし。
圭一君、よかった。戻ってきてくれたんだね。
レナ。
警察がね、レナの言うことを信じてくれないの。レナの言ってることが本当で、レナがやろうとしてることが本気だって、圭一君からも言ってくれないかな。
やろうとしてることってなんだよ。
今この教室にね、ガソリンをまいたの。だからレナが持ってるライターでちょっと火をつければ、ここにいる人質はみんな死んじゃう。それを大石さんに教えてくれないかな。
何ですかあんたたちは。
どきたまえ。
We already know they're going to fail, because they won't be able to open up the electrical room.
ここの責任者は誰だね。
Several cars had arrived, producing several men. They went from the Yokonomiya station. One of the men was wearing a suit, despite the hot weather. He approached me, pushing Kumagai aside.
おや、これはこれは。お久しぶりですね。県警本部の大高くんじゃありませんか。
言葉を慎みたまえ。もう君に君と呼ばれる階級ではない。
So yes, just emphasize the kun.
何かご用ですかね大高くん。今非常に立て込んでいます。まさか県警がこの現場を乗っ取ろうつもりで誰の了解で
私が許可した、大石君。
所長
高杉君から事情は聞いている。君がまいた種だという話も聞いているぞ。君はもう下がって、あとは機動隊に任せるんだ。
機動隊って。大高君、あんたまさか吸収する気ですか。
危険は重々承知だ。
No, you don't.
だがもう爆発まで時間がない。君が時間を浪費しすぎたのだ。
You know about the bomb already? Okay.
その尻拭いを我々がしようというんだ。
I guess Rena told them.
君らは引き継いで後方に下がりたまえ。
I couldn't talk back if both the chief and the guy from prefectural headquarters gave me an order.
おいさん、何者っすかあいつは。
大高君。昔麻雀がくっそ弱いくせに生きがってたからちょいと叩き潰してやったことがありましてね。それともあれかな、剣道大会で偉そうにしてやがったから面食らわして失神させたのを根に持ってるのかな。
Obviously, we didn't get along.
大石君、現在の最新の状況を説明したまえ。
あんた本気で突入する気で。
突入は府警の専門部隊が担当する。君はバックアップに回りたまえ。
所長。
大石君、府警の専門部隊はただの機動隊じゃないぞ。第二機動隊といえば君ほどの男なら噂くらい聞いてるだろ
う。なんすか大石さん、第二機動隊って有名なんですか。
5年くらい前だっけ、空港の飛行機に犯人が立てこもった事件があったでしょう。あれをきっかけに東京と大阪にハイジャック専門の特殊部隊が組織されたって噂は聞いてましたがね。実在してましたか。
でもなんだって府警の機動隊がこんなところに。
たまたま県警機動隊との交流訓練があってね。
That does seem a bit suspicious.
特別に応援を要請したのだよ。
Why do they just happen to be holding a training session here? Hmm?
相変わらずですね。話をすぐ派手にしたがるその癖は。
Do they have something to do with the disaster, mayhaps? The company members exited the vehicles, one after another, and took position. They didn't move like policemen.
大高君、あんた学校で銃撃戦をやる気かい。
安心したまえ。突入班が使うのは火器じゃない。ボート鎮圧用のガス銃だ。高圧ガスで催涙ガスを噴出する。何の問題もない。
へえ、そりゃ便利な水鉄砲があったもんで。
In a room full of children.
ところでそのおもちゃは校庭を横断して教室まで届くほど便利なものなんで。
それは君が心配することではない。あとは我々に任せて下がりたまえ。
And then, following Taka's orders, the special forces took positions at a blind spot visible from the school window and prepared to infiltrate. I'm guessing it's a blind spot not visible from the school window. Roshi wrinkled his nose at Otaka's arrogance and pretentious attitude, but didn't give way for counter-arguments. Remembering that Renner and Keiichi were having a conversation, he turned on his heel, heading over to a patrol car. Because yeah, it wouldn't make sense if it's a blind spot if it's visible. I mean, that's kind of the opposite of a blind spot. And there,
大変だ刑事さん
at once the door to the car swung open, and Keiichi rushed over to him
ど
screaming.
うしました前原さん。
レナが教室内にガソリンを撒いたって
No.
Gasoline? I didn't hear that there was something so inflammable in the vicinity. No, it's not about that, right now.
射撃用意構え
Boom!
待ってください。やめろ。撃つな。
ふて
Our bodies were promptly blown away and hit the floor. We didn't understand what had happened for a moment. Okay, one thing which doesn't quite add up. Doesn't quite add up in this one. We don't have any time left before the bomb goes off. It sounds like they didn't know about the bomb. Until just then. We didn't understand what had happened for a moment. A high-pitched tinnitus violently reverberated within my skull, and an overwhelming dizziness distanced me from my consciousness. My throat and nasal passage felt irritated from the suspended dust particles and smoldered air. Spitting out crunchy debris in my mouth, I dragged my beaten body up into a stance and faced forward, looking ahead of me. There were many police officers scattered about on the ground, groaning from the impact. The voice of agony filled the air next to me. As I faced it, turned out to be the detective I had been talking to just now. His entire body was covered in dirt and debris, and he was bleeding from his head. As I began to sit down in concern for him, I suddenly remembered Mion and Renner's safety. And he looks at the school. And then I turned towards the direction of the school. Aww. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. What stood before me was a disordered conglomerate of wood, bricks, and other distorted articles mixed in, crudely resembling an enormous camping bonfire. The flames that had risen up in between that mass burned so high they seemed to reach into the evening twilight. Even from this faraway distance, I could perceive the heat and the scorching smell. No, this had to be a dream. This couldn't be our school. No, this wasn't even a school in the first place. I staggered over. Fumbling forward with my useless legs, I walked over to that monstrosity. And then before me, amidst the crumbled remains of timber, I discovered a face I recognized, and drew a breath before I rushed over.
Mion!
Mion's eyes were wide open, facing my way, with her right arm raised. Her mouth was slightly open. She probably couldn't speak.
よかった。Mion!
She's already dead. I had to get her out of here first. Thinking that, I tightly grasped that right arm. It felt light. There was no resistance. And then, from within the rubble, it came out. The fact that it's only her upper torso, I'm guessing? And then a small mass rolled over. and touched my feet. Neon's head had come apart from her body. Not quite the same, but possibly worse looking. Yep, that is a bad end. Let's see now. Gone a bit over time, but I'll end it here for today. I hope you all enjoyed. Next time I'll do the, what's it called? I will do the staff room thing. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And until next time, see ya. Hello, Watem here, and welcome back to some more Higurashi When They Cry. For the finale for this chapter, let's go to the staff room. Hello, my name is Higurashi07. I hope you enjoyed playing Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 6, Tsumihoroboshi. There are several themes I wanted to write in this chapter, but I'd like to talk about one of them here. It's about the denial of murder. This is something I had to write sooner or later, since this is a novel about serial murders. Is it now? I thought they were accidents. There are two means that youngsters in particular use these days to solve problems, which are murder and suicide. When we feel stress, we choose to either get rid of the source of the stress or to get away from it. Let's say you're bullied by a kid at school. You have two ways to solve the problem. You choose either to get rid of the kid from your current environment, or to get away from the environment itself. Usually, bullies are stronger and have their underlings, so you don't stand a chance alone to get rid of them. It's also not easy to switch classes or to quit school, so you can't easily get away from the situation. As a result, the situation gets worse day by day, and your stress urges you to solve the problem immediately. You come up with murder or suicide as easy solutions. If suicide is considered defeat, you'd want to consider murder. I feel like there are many people who think that way. However, if you actually committed a murder, it wouldn't be easy to pay for the sin. I believe murderers know that well, too. But you really hate the bully who pushed you to the limit, where you have no choice but to kill him. So, with a determination that turns your entire life upside down, you commit murder. But if you have such a strong determination, there have to be more ways to take than opting for murder, which should be the last resort. You can talk to your friends. If that doesn't work, you can talk to your family. If that doesn't work, you can talk to your teacher. If that doesn't work, then what? There have to be more ways. If you have the determination to give up on your life by committing murder, there have to be more ways. Our modern era is better than any era before it, is it? There are many hotlines that you can call to talk to someone. Even if you don't have any friends or family, there are many places you can go for help. The people who will answer the phone aren't amateurs. They're volunteers, but they're also veterans who have worked as social workers or juvenile counselors for a long time. I can assure you that they have more social experience and passion than your parents do. People who work to help others for free can't be bad people. If you feel like you have no choice but to kill the bully or commit suicide, please try to call those hotlines. People who think it's useless to talk to others usually haven't talked to anyone. Have the courage to call. There will be somebody you can completely rely on at the other end of the line. Don't keep it to yourself. Talk to somebody. Yukishi07 wrote such a long story just to tell you this. He must be a very poor writer. So Yukishi07 wants to talk to you all, rather than worrying all by himself. How can I write even more entertaining stories? Bitter laugh. 7th expansion, Yukishi07. Which is much shorter than I expected. I might tack it on to the end of the last part. Yeah, seriously. Do these hotlines, they exist for a reason. You can Google them. like, even if you don't have anything at home, just look it up. There's all sorts of places. Your school probably has a counselor. You can talk to them. You can find out other resources from them. Or you've got a computer room. You can Google from there. Yeah, this ends it, I guess, for chapter 6. Tsumihoroboshi. Next time will be chapter 7, MangaGamer. It seems to be a focus on Rika. Maybe we'll get the solution. We'll finally get the path where she escapes. Or maybe not. 7 went onto Steam not all that long ago from memory. Because I can remember buying it. Let me just look at the store page while I talk to you. Yeah, it was released almost a year ago now. Or probably a year ago, over a year ago by the time this comes out. 18th of July 2019. So, I'm not entirely sure about it. Ooh, actually, yeah, there's a chapter 8. Huh. Yeah, there's a... I hadn't noticed this. Yeah, so there's a chapter 8 which seems to be about, just from the picture, it seems to be about Takano-san. So I'm guessing that will reveal her part of the story. Which means that MangaGamer isn't going to be the path where she gets out. Also looking at the MangaGamer picture, it looks similar to Rika, but with lighter pink hair and horns. One of the horns seems to have like a crack in it. But in any case, we'll get to that when we get to it. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And until next time, see ya.